Hold up. Stop everything you're doing. Because what I'm about to show you is going to reset the entire Claressa Shields conversation forever. And by the time we finish this breakdown, you're going to understand why the so-called GWOAT is quietly living through the most humiliating 5 days of her entire boxing career, and she cannot hide it anymore. She cannot spin it. She cannot reframe it. She cannot podcast her way out of it. Man, let me tell y'all something. I've been watching this whole Claressa Shields circus spin in slow motion for weeks now, and I finally cracked the code. I finally figured out exactly what's happening behind the curtain, and once I show you the receipts, once I pull up the numbers, once I hand you the map, you are never going to look at Claressa Shields the same way again. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Never. And the crazy part? She did it to herself. Every single crumb of this mess is her own fingerprints. Every single one. Now let me set the table real quick. Claressa Shields, the woman who told the whole planet she belongs on the boxing Mount Rushmore next to Muhammad Ali, next to Mike Tyson, next to Sugar Ray Leonard, next to Roy Jones Jr., is about to walk into an arena that isn't sold out. Not close to sold out. Not even doing the numbers a Tuesday night undercard would do. Claressa Shields, the self-anointed greatest of all time, men or women, is 5 days from fight night with rows of empty seats staring back at her like a mirror she doesn't want to look into. And I'm gonna show you the proof. Live. On camera. In real time. Because Claressa Shields cannot spin what my eyes are about to see. Y'all following the thread yet? Let me put the pretending on pause for a second. Claressa Shields is not, and has never been, the box office draw she keeps telling every microphone she is. And I'm not saying that to be cruel. I'm not saying that because I dislike Claressa Shields. I'm saying it because the ticket websites don't lie. Ticketmaster doesn't have a personal agenda. StubHub isn't out here plotting on Claressa Shields. The numbers are the numbers, and the numbers are telling on Claressa Shields louder than any interview she's ever done. Louder than any podcast rant. Louder than any rap freestyle. The seat map is snitching. And speaking of interviews, man, let's talk about it. Because Claressa Shields has been doing what I call the everywhere but the arena media tour. She's on Cam Newton's podcast. She's on Shannon Sharpe's couch. She's on every barbershop show, every sports blog, every hip-hop platform that'll book her. And guess what? Every single interview goes viral. Every single one. But here's the twist that's got me sitting sideways. The parts going viral have absolutely nothing to do with boxing. Not one clip. Not one bar. Not one round of tape. The viral clips are Claressa Shields talking about Papoose. Claressa Shields going at Remy Ma. Claressa Shields firing shots at Laila Ali. Claressa Shields dragging Alicia Baumgardner. Claressa Shields describing her bedroom situation on a podcast like we all asked. That's what's traveling. That's what's clipping. That's what's trending. You catching this? The boxing is not the product anymore. Claressa Shields is the product, and the product is drama, and drama does not fill arenas the way legends fill arenas. Ask Floyd Mayweather. 5 days before a Floyd fight sold out. Ask Canelo Alvarez. 5 days before Canelo sold out. Ask Terence Crawford. Sold out. Ask Gervonta Davis. Sold out. Ask Ryan Garcia. Sold out. Ask Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Ripped clean off the shelves before the poster dried. But Claressa Shields, the self-proclaimed GWOAT, the woman who compared herself to Michael Jordan 2 months ago, Claressa Shields is 5 days out with entire lower bowl sections still available on the primary market. 5 days. Something ain't sitting right, and I'm about to prove it to you with my own 2 hands. Now before we pull up the seat map, let me back up and tell you why the Papoose situation matters, because a lot of y'all are new to the timeline. Claressa Shields decided publicly on the record that dating a man in the middle of a marriage was a personality trait worth broadcasting. Not a private mistake. Not a whisper. A billboard. Claressa Shields turned her romance with Papoose into content. Into merch. Into a podcast arc. And when Remy Ma finally responded, quietly dignified in her own lane, Claressa Shields did what Claressa Shields does. She talked about it. Then she talked about it again. Then she talked about it on every platform that would hand her a microphone. Until it stopped being a rumor and started being her entire brand identity. That is the trap Claressa Shields walked into with her own 2 feet. Because once the drama becomes the brand, the drama has to keep escalating to feed the brand. And that's exactly what's happening. Every interview needs a bigger claim, a hotter shot, a more shocking sentence, or the algorithm loses interest. Man, go somewhere with that noise. That is not how you build a boxing legacy. That is how you build a reality TV show. And reality TV shows do not sell out State Farm Arena. Let me hit y'all with something that's gonna sting. When we, the audience, the culture, the people, think about Serena Williams, we think tennis. First thought. Only thought. When we think about Simone Biles, we think gymnastics. First thought. Only thought. When we think about Sha'Carri Richardson, we think track. First thought. When we think about Katie Taylor, we think boxing. First thought. When we think about Alicia Baumgardner, we think boxing. First thought. When we think about Claressa Shields, honestly, hand on the heart, first thought. It ain't boxing. It's the drama. It's the interviews. It's the Papoose situation. It's the Remy Ma back and forth. It's the wig conversation. It's the I'm so pretty clips. Boxing shows up around thought number 6, thought number 7, thought number 8. And that is a catastrophic branding problem for a woman 5 days out from a title fight. I'm gonna call this straight down the middle. The interviews aren't hurting Claressa Shields' feelings. The interviews are hurting Claressa Shields' business. And the numbers I'm about to walk you through are going to make that crystal. Pull up the seat map with me right now. Because this is the part one want every single Claressa Shields defender to sit through without blinking. State Farm Arena. Atlanta. The main event. 5 days on the clock. On a fully live primary market seat map, you should be looking at a wall of gray because gray means sold. That's what a Legends Arena looks like 5 days out. A wall of gray with maybe a few premium boxes still floating. That is what a Floyd Mayweather map looks like at this stage. That is what a Canelo map looks like at this stage. That is what a Tank Davis map looks like. That is what a Terence Crawford map looks like on a slow night. That is not what the Claressa Shields map looks like. Instead, y'all, I'm looking at deep blue. Entire sections in the lower bowl. Entire columns behind the corners. Rows in the 100 level with more open circles than sold ones. Sections in the 200 level that are practically untouched. And nosebleeds in the 300 level that any half-decent draw would have moved out on pre-sale day one. Still hanging there like discount fruit at the end of a farmer's market. This is not a the fight is heating up arena. This is a we're about to start doing buy one get 10 giveaways arena. And that's the second red flag I want to plant in your brain right now. Because we've seen this exact movie before. The Franchon Cruz-Dezern fight was the trial run for what I'm calling the great big optical illusion. Slow ticket sales all the way to fight week. Then a suspicious surge in the final 96 hours. And suddenly, miraculously, the arena looks full on the broadcast because the production team dims the upper deck, tightens the camera to the ring, and pipes a crowd audio bed over the empty rows. If you were watching at home, you thought Claressa Shields drew 18,000 real paying customers. But if you were sitting in section 314 that night, you know there was a whole zip code of empty seats staring back at the Jumbotron. And here's the kicker. Papoose himself, sat across from DJ Vlad and told the whole internet verbatim that Claressa Shields is the #1 boxing draw in the world. Men or women, top 3, no worse. Bigger than Canelo, bigger than Tank, bigger than Terence Crawford, bigger than Shakur Stevenson, bigger than Tyson Fury. Man, go somewhere with that noise. If any single sentence Papoose has ever spoken was accurate, State Farm Arena would already be a sold-out museum piece. It is not. The primary market is bleeding blue dots. And Papoose's mouth is writing checks that Claressa Shields' box office cannot cash. Y'all following the thread yet? Let me push this deeper. Because I want to explain why Claressa Shields is stuck in this loop. And this is the part her camp does not want anybody to explain out loud. Claressa Shields is not popping. The controversy around Claressa Shields is popping. Those are two completely different economic engines, and Claressa Shields has confused them for each other. When Remy Ma trends, it's because Remy Ma dropped a verse, released a song, sat down with Angie Martinez, or appeared on Fat Joe's show. Remy Ma trends for Remy Ma's work. Remy Ma trends for the product. When Claressa Shields trends, it's because Claressa Shields said something outrageous about somebody else. Claressa Shields trends for the noise. Not the product. Not the boxing. Not the belts. The noise. That's why the interviews go viral and the tickets don't move. Viral drama does not convert to $250 lower bowl seats. Viral drama converts to comment sections, screenshots, and reaction videos. Comment sections don't pay for arena catering. Screenshots don't cover the fighter purse. Reaction videos don't fill the seats behind the corner. And every single day Claressa Shields spends chasing another viral clip on another podcast is another day the actual paying audience. The boxing audience, the real fight week crowd, quietly decides to stay home. Quietly decides she's not worth the drive. Quietly decides she's not worth the parking. Quietly decides she's not worth the ticket price. Now let's talk about the Remy Ma dynamic, because I promised you the receipts and I don't skip. Something ain't sitting right when Claressa Shields cannot do a single 20-minute interview without name-dropping Remy Ma. Not one. Try to find it. Go dig through the last 30 interviews Claressa Shields has done, and I dare you to find a single one where Remy Ma's name doesn't appear inside the first 10 minutes. You will not find it, because Claressa Shields, whether she wants to admit it or not, needs Remy Ma to keep the algorithm interested. Without Remy Ma, without Papoose, without the marriage narrative, Claressa Shields' clips do not travel. They just don't. Watch what happens when she talks pure boxing on camera, the views tank. Watch what happens when she says the word Papoose. The views multiply by 10. That is not a boxing career. That is a soap opera arc. Meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, Remy Ma is doing exactly what a professional does. Remy Ma sat down with Fat Joe and Jada on the Joe and Jada show and did not mention Claressa Shields' name a single time. Remy Ma sat with Angie Martinez, one of the biggest interviewers in the culture, and did not mention Claressa Shields' name. Remy Ma is out here promoting her music, her book, her business, her legacy, and doing it without weaponizing another woman's relationship for content. That, right there, is the difference between somebody who is actually moving numbers and somebody who is only borrowing numbers from other people's drama. Remy Ma doesn't need Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields needs Remy Ma. Let that sit for a full second before we keep going. Let it breathe. Let it live in your head rent-free the way it lives in Claressa Shields' head every single morning she wakes up. And here's what's really going to sting the fan base. The reason Claressa Shields keeps getting booked on major podcasts is not because the bookers want to hear about her jab. It's not because the bookers want to break down her footwork. It's not because they want to preview her next opponent. The bookers know, and I mean they know, that if you put Claressa Shields on camera for 90 minutes, she will absolutely, without fail, say something about Papoose, Remy Ma, Laila Ali, Alicia Baumgardner, or her own attractiveness. That's the guaranteed clip. That's the guaranteed download. Claressa Shields is not being booked as a boxer. Claressa Shields is being booked as content bait, and the bookers are laughing all the way to their upload schedule. Now let's do the math on the seat map one more time so nobody can say I skipped it. 5 days out. State Farm Arena. Lower Bowl still has open sections in 106, 107, 108, 109, and 110 based on what's live on the primary market. The 200 level has entire zones untouched. The 300 level has more availability than sold inventory. And whenever you see a fight promoter suddenly announce buy one get one bundles inside the final 72 hours, that is not a marketing strategy. That is a distress signal. That is the promoter telling you, without telling you, that the walk-up isn't happening and the numbers aren't there. Ask yourself an honest question. If Claressa Shields were truly the female Michael Jordan of boxing, would State Farm Arena still be selling seats with open aisles 5 days out? No, absolutely not. Michael Jordan playoff tickets sold out months in advance. Muhammad Ali versus Frazier sold out the day the fight was announced. Mike Tyson in his prime sold out before the poster hit the print shop. Legends do not have inventory 5 days out. Legends have secondary market resale wars 5 days out. You catching this yet? And I know some of y'all in the comments are gonna say, well, maybe she'll sell it out at the door. Sure, she might. She might do exactly what she did with the Franchon Cruz Dezern card and pull off the great big optical illusion again. But even if she pulls it off, and this is the point I need every single one of you to write down, a genuine A+ draw does not need 5-day miracles. A genuine A+ draw sells out on pre-sale week 1. Ask any real boxing historian. Ask any promoter with a decade of receipts. The scoreboard on box office greatness is not, did the arena eventually fill up? The scoreboard is, how fast did the inventory disappear? And by that scoreboard, which is the only honest scoreboard that exists, Claressa Shields is nowhere near the tier she keeps comparing herself to. Not close. Not even in the same zip code. Let me hit you with the receipt she does not want you to remember. Claressa Shields' most viral moment of 2026, the single clip that traveled further than anything else she's produced, was not a knockout. It was not a title defense speech. It was not a technical breakdown. It was a bedroom comment about Papoose that got clipped, memed, screenshotted, and dragged across every corner of the internet for a solid 2 weeks. That is the clip that broke containment. That is the clip that made her popping. That is the clip that half her new fan base showed up for. Not the boxing. The bedroom. And when your most viral moment is not a highlight from your actual profession, you are no longer building a boxing career. You are building a personality brand that happens to include boxing as a hobby. That's a very different business, and it comes with a very different ceiling. Now let's talk about the ceiling. Because Claressa Shields is about to run face first into the ceiling of the personality brand economy, and she does not see it coming. The ceiling looks like this, the drama fades. It always fades. Every drama story in the history of American celebrity culture eventually fades. Angelina and Brad faded. Tristan and Khloe faded. Every headline eventually loses its heat because the audience gets bored. And when this Papoose Remy Ma Claressa Shields storyline finally, mercifully, cools off, and it will because they all do, Claressa Shields is going to look around and discover something devastating. The tickets still aren't selling. The songs still aren't charting. The endorsements still aren't rolling in the way they roll in for Serena Williams, for Simone Biles, for Sha'Carri Richardson. Because the personality brand was built on top of borrowed drama, and borrowed drama has an expiration date stamped on the box. That is why she's fighting so hard right now to keep the drama alive. Every interview, every diss, every subtle shot at Laila Ali, every "you just think you're pretty" jab, every "I'm so beautiful" mirror selfie caption, every rap song that name drops Remy Ma. Claressa Shields is not being reckless, Claressa Shields is being desperate. She knows, in the part of her brain she does not say out loud, that the second this storyline ends, the tickets get worse, not better. And Miss Cloud9, if you're watching this, because we know you're watching, we know your team monitors every clip, I'm gonna tell you what your camp will not tell you. The interviews are the leak. The interviews are the exact reason the tickets are stalling. Every time you sit down and choose to talk about somebody else's marriage instead of your own footwork, you push another boxing purist off the fence and into the "I'll watch the highlights on YouTube" category. Every time you clown Laila Ali's face instead of breaking down your own game plan, you tell the actual boxing audience that you don't respect the sport. And the actual boxing audience is exactly the audience that fills arenas. Not the reaction video audience. Not the reality TV audience. The actual boxing audience. You are losing the wrong customer, and you don't even know you're losing them. Now let me close this out with the part one no is gonna hit the comments hardest. Claressa Shields owes her entire current relevance to the exact YouTube commentators she keeps publicly attacking. Every single blogger she calls hater. Every single podcaster she says is obsessed with her. Every single reaction channel she claims is riding her wave. Those creators, us, the culture, the platforms, we are the reason the algorithm still recognizes her name. If YouTube commentators stopped covering Claressa Shields tomorrow, her name frequency across the internet would collapse inside a week. Because the mainstream sports outlets are not carrying her the way they carry Canelo. ESPN is not leading SportsCenter with her. DAZN's boxing desk barely mentions her outside of Fight Week. The people keeping Claressa Shields' name alive are exactly the people she's been publicly disrespecting. That's the math. That's the truth. That's the entire equation in one sentence. The people you insult are the people carrying you. And the moment they put the microphone down, so does your career. Now here's the meta question I want every single one of you to drop in the comments below, because I want to hear the culture weigh in. Is Claressa Shields going to hit the presale target in 5 days? Or is State Farm Arena about to become the second great big optical illusion of the year? Comment "sold out" if you think she pulls off another camera angle miracle. Comment "empty" if you think the seat map you saw with your own eyes tells the real story. And comment "drama" if you think the whole thing was never about boxing to begin with. Because when the drama finally fades, and it will, I promise you it will, the only thing left standing will be the receipts. The seat map, the ticket count, the rap songs that didn't chart, the endorsement deals that never came, the Mount Rushmore comparisons that aged like week-old milk on a summer porch in August. And on that day, Claressa Shields is going to remember exactly what I told you tonight. She needed the drama more than the drama ever needed her. She needed Remy Ma more than Remy Ma ever needed her. She needed the YouTubers more than the YouTubers ever needed her. She needed the noise more than the noise ever needed her. And when the noise finally goes quiet, the arena will still be half full. 5 days. 5 days on the clock. I'm gone.